If you've got a passion for pumpkin, you've got to get to Dunkin' and pick these up. Our new Pumpkin Cream Cold Brew. Smooth, bold cold brew topped with velvety pumpkin cream cold foam. And our delicious pumpkin spice signature latte. Rich espresso topped with whipped cream, caramel drizzle, and cinnamon sugar. And our perfectly pumpkin donuts, munchkins treats, pumpkin muffins, and more. That's how we pumpkin at Dunkin'. Pick your pumpkin at Dunkin', like our new Pumpkin Cream Cold Brew, pumpkin spice signature latte, and our perfectly pumpkin treats. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply.
Hear that? Is that America cheering or a sausage patty sizzling to perfection? It's time to cheer for Egg McMuffin and fresh cracked eggs at McDonald's. It's time to wake up to the aroma of freshly baked biscuits and treat yourself to a real honest-to-goodness morning meal. Breakfast, it's on at McDonald's. Now enjoy a large iced coffee for just $2. Add a breakfast sandwich to make a meal. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Thank you for calling 423-GET-FAME. That's 423-GET-FAME. I would tell you to leave a message, but the truth is, I don't really care. I've had this hotline open for months, and not one of you jokers have what it takes to be famous like me. So leave a message if you want, but don't expect a call back. I've got way more important things to do than to waste my time on losers like Masquerita Sagrada and you all. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Hey there, folks, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 16 of the Grave Consequences podcast. My name is Caleb Baldwin. Follow me on Twitter at IamCalebB. You can follow Greg at XMaserati. This is, of course, the Grave Consequences podcast. We're reviewing Season 2, Episode 16 of Lucha Underground, the title being Graver Consequences. My suggested alternate title is Grave Consequences 2, Electric Boogaloo. I think Greg's got some other suggestions. We'll see what we end up going with.
My only concern is I think we used Electric Boogaloo already, because there's already been 2.
Oof. Yeah, we did that with Aztec Warfare. Yeah. Hit him with that first one you told me.
Okay. We can do it.
Okay. And, okay, let's see here. Oh, folks, guys, check out every Wednesday night after AEW Dynamite, check out Eddie and Caleb's Hero Cast that covers hero movies. Pretty good stuff. The recording date is September 28th. And how are you doing on this lovely Tuesday night, sir? Besides tired.
Yeah, to sum up my week, one of the worst things that happened to me was my microwave broke. And may not seem like a big deal to most people. But when you're a bachelor, you tend to have a lot of leftovers, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like a paper cut, if you will, when it comes to appliances breaking. It has not been a great week for me, Caleb. It's been pretty shitty. But I was actually going to ask you, did you guys already do the Tom Jane Punisher?
We did that because we're recording into 2007 now, so we did that a while back now.
Damn.
I'll tell you what, I'll send you the list of upcoming movies and that don't already have guests attached to them, and we can see if any of those interest you.
You're not interested in the 4-man booth?
It's just hard to coordinate, that's all. And it gets kind of congested, as it were. Because I already cut people off bad enough. I already cut off one guy bad enough.
True.
Imagine doing it to 3 people.
But what if that's someone's kink, right?
Oof, yeah, your kink is being cut off on a podcast.
Yeah, that's why listening to people get cut off.
Exactly. Fair enough. Maybe that's why we've done this for so long, because I love to cut you off and you love to be cut off.
I'm assuming that's our demo.
That's hot, dude.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Oh my gosh. Enough with the goofiness.
Will they, won't they?
The silliness. Yeah, this isn't will they, won't they. I know they won't, and I don't want them to. Oh my god.
Maybe that should be the title.
Yes. I know they won't. I know they won't, and I don't want them to. Well, speaking of will they, won't they? Dario meets Delgado at a restaurant, and he's late.
That's never a good sign.
Nope. Dario pays off Delgado, and he's very quick to try to leave. And Delgado's like, hey, calm down there, buddy. No need to rush. It's like even Dario is scared of this guy. And we have hardly seen Dario this scared of anyone.
Well, haven't you? Do you remember Renegade? Because he has a reason to be scared of Lorenzo Lamas.
I do not remember Renegade. I know you brought it up to me, but I am balls deep in a Futurama rewatch right now. So
those of us olds who remember the 90s and remember Thunder in Paradise and Baywatch and all those types of shows, we remember, and we understand fully Dario's respect for this man.
Yeah. Well, Dario orders a drink, and he orders a cerveza, or beer for those of you who are uncultured and don't know translation. And Delgado quickly corrects him, and he says, you know what, he's getting a whiskey, and you're going to fill my glass up again. So Delgado's just flexing his muscle here because he wants to feel power over someone. He's a very insecure man. I can tell that for sure.
Well, it's anecdotal, but when I was a youngling, I applied for a job at GameStop. I worked at GameStop for a little bit. At my first interview with the DM, whose name will be unnamed because that could get me in trouble. I was there.
Greg.
Huh?
We'll just call him Greg to avoid confusion.
Yeah, that won't confuse anybody. He shows up 45 minutes. Like I'm meeting him, and if anyone's ever had a mall job, sometimes you get interviews in the food court. So I'm sitting in the food court, dressed up in not a suit, but like a button-up shirt, a tie, and some slacks for a mall job. Which it always feels weird when you dress up for jobs that you don't dress up for.
Yeah.
Especially for a job when you're working at like a GameStop. But he shows up 45 minutes late, and the interview goes fine. I get the job. And later, I'm talking to people I work with, and I'm like, yeah, the only weird thing about my interview is that he showed up so late to it. I could have showed up later, and people were like, oh, no, that's a power move. He's trying to flex his muscle. And I was like, and I was shocked because I was like, wow, what a pointless thing to do. I'm applying for a cashier job at a GameStop. Like, you don't really, who doesn't have power over me? But that kind of seems like what Dario was attempting to do, and he failed. Yeah,
absolutely. He failed miserably, for sure. Because he is the inferior here. He's the inferior here. And Delgado says, hey, you're getting sloppy. And not only that, I wouldn't be shocked if there's an inside man. And Dario's like, no, I would know. I would know if they had an inside man. Come on.
If this was filmed in 2021, Dario would have been like, or do you mean inside women?
Excuse me, Lorenzo Lamas. I think you mean inside person.
Yeah. Inside persons.
Yeah. So Delgado, referring to his boss, not the mayor, but his other one, and the verbiage he uses, they're getting into, this is borderline jump the shark where they're going. He's like, when his dissension is complete, he's going to come to see the temple personally, referring to Delgado's boss. And Dario is shocked and scared by this news because the implication I gather is they work for the Antichrist.
The implications? Yeah, I'm assuming there's some kind of folklore, Aztec folklore for who they might be working for. But it gets kind of muddy because it seems like it's a secret society. It's a lot of good stuff, actually. And it's weird that I actually had this thought, and I think I was saving it for the next episode, but it's kind of weird the types of feuds they focus on when they have all this real backstory. Like they have the 7 tribes of each medallion is a tribe, and we do eventually see all the tribes form, but they don't really talk about that much. It's almost like they were afraid to get too deep, or maybe they couldn't get the people they wanted, but they focused on the Jesse and the Rippers.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see, I'm not sure if it's this episode or the next episode, we'll see that they're not focusing on them anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Not only that, by the way, spoiler alert for their boss, be it whatever it is, the Antichrist or whoever, this person shows up in the series finale, by the way. We see him for like 5 seconds, maybe, something like that.
You're right. And are you going to spoil it?
No, we're not going to spoil it.
Okay.
But, I mean, that would be bad news if I did that.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, let's see here. Oh, we had an Aztec medallion match. Mr. Cisco versus Cortez Castro versus Joey Ryan. So we've got the Wire competing against each other. And this match is short. There's really nothing going on here. He's so sleazy chant for Joey Ryan. They're not wrong. And Joey Ryan gets the win with a schoolboy.
A really weak schoolboy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this feud, and you know what I'm talking about. This feud kind of goes further out. This is only the begin. This is like the early stages of it. We saw it before between, not Castro. Castro, Cortez Castro, and Joey Ryan, and you see a little bit of the captain that they report to, but they could have used this storyline to really get into like the underground society part of it. Like Lucha Underground, when I look at it, it's almost a lot of those horror movies you see now.
Yeah.
Where there's like a secret society or there's, ancient gods, like the really weird ones, like maybe even Mandy with Nicolas Cage. That's the weirdest one, or even The Void. Cabin in the Woods. Yeah. It's there's a lot of that in there. But they said they either tend to get their feet wet in a storyline and not really have the courage to really get into it.
Yeah.
Or they dispose of it. Or like, why are we? There's a lot of Tejano versus,
anybody.
Chavo feuds when like they really no one wants that, no one cares, and you really could have spent that time doing stuff, setting things up, or really, building on what you've already built. It just seems like there's a lot of times where they're either avoiding their main storyline. You don't always like you can go off. You can have different feuds. It's not like a concrete rule, but they just kind of like get close to it and they're afraid to, and I think with the audience they got, they could have gone all the way.
Yeah. I would also like to add that Joey Ryan put the medallion next to his penis.
Yes.
Yep, that's the kind of guy we're dealing with there. After that, Muertes got caught again doing a tactical whitey.
Yeah. It never gets old. It's a secret man cave where Katrina catches him touching himself.
Mm-hmm. It's always great when that happens. Katrina says she's been waiting a really long time, specifically 197 years for this moment. So I guess, like, the gist here, and she even says it like, hey, before you close the lid, you have to watch me give Matanza the lick of death. And apparently, if she can do that, both of them can become immortal. So says Katrina, which, I mean, I thought she kind of already was, but
I think she meant. I don't think it's that literal. I think it's more like, if I get control of Matanza, because that's what the lick of death would do. If she put him in the coffin with the lick of death, she would get control over him. Mm-hmm. So I think it's more like we'll be in power forever.
Fair enough.
Who could stop us?
Fair enough. Let's see. So the lick of death itself is more symbolic, but if you do the lick of death before they get put in the coffin, it gives you a power over them.
That's the implication I got. I mean, I could be wrong, because she is already immortal. I think her power wanes over time. We find out, and she has to do things to get more power. That could be it too. Like she doesn't like she's. You find out later. Spoilers, I guess, but like her power is waning a bit, and she needs fuel. Even gods need to eat something.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, Katrina and Muertes leave, and we see stalking, after them, sort of, King Cuerno.
Very brave, or very crazy hunter.
Mm-hmm. I take it as more pissed than anything. Like he realizes he was a patsy and he paid for it, and maybe he's out for blood now.
I mean, I'm not sure how he didn't realize he was the patsy all along when he agreed to never challenge for the title after getting it.
Pretty obvious. Like, yeah, you're a patsy, dude. Like, whatever. Even Ray Phoenix is like, dude, like, I thought I was in simp territory last season. No, you're even worse, man.
Yeah, he did promise her that he was the hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting. I like Cuerno. It's just like it's kind of like, dude, like, why are you upset? Like she asked you to do something, you said yes, and then you got upset about it. So he's a little bit like most people on the show. A lot of people on the show are crazy, especially some of the people that show up on tomorrow's episode.
Next week's episode. Hey, after this, we have a rematch of sorts for the Trios Championship. We have the Lucha Gods, Rey Mysterio, Prince Puma, and El Dragon Azteca Jr. against, as I wrote it, Jesse and Johnny and the Ripper, because Ivelisse, is there. And Helico is hurt. So Ivelisse and Son of Havoc need a partner, and Dario Cueto brought them one, and it was Johnny Mundo.
Which, if you think about it, that's a pretty good partner.
On paper, it's a good partner.
On paper. Well, if they were heels, it would have been fine.
Yeah. Fair enough. Let's see here. Oh, by the way, of course, Mundo brought Taya with him because
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say he needs his heater.
And this is why I interrupted you, because I want to get this in so we don't gloss over it. But Stryker actually compares Taya throughout the match to how Ivelisse was in the first season, like constantly shrieking, getting in the way, jumping in when she's not needed. And she does.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon. Cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code PHIL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code PHIL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PHIL.
And she does distract Ivelisse, and Stryker does point out, she's doing what Ivelisse did to, big boy voice Matt Cross the first season when they were heels, which wasn't very long ago.
Yeah, it was only like a season and a half ago. It's wild how far we've come.
I got a bone to pick with you too, because you said that they amplified his voice a lot. I actually watched MLW recently, loved it. It's great. But his voice it's not that. It's pretty deep.
I mean, yeah, but nobody's voice is actually that deep, is what I'm saying.
No, it's digitally enhanced, but he does have a big boy voice.
Yeah, fair enough. Why the hell are you watching MLW to begin?
It came on my YouTube. It was like a whole friggin' show.
Yeah. Whole freaking show.
I was like, sure, I'll watch free wrestling.
Yeah. Absolutely. I got nothing better to do. Watched all the porn I can, so let's watch some free wrestling.
There you go.
Heyo. By the way, there was a really cool spot where Ray and Son of Havoc caught each other's legs, and they agreed to, on the count of 3, let each other go. So it's a nice little bit of brevity.
Yeah, they were doing the mirror thing quite a bit with Havoc and Rey Mysterio. I'm not sure if this ever materializes in anything, but they were really trying to make you think like, hey, well, this Havoc guy can really go with Rey. That would be a great match to have to see who's the better guy. My favorite moment was when Vamp points out, because Johnny Mundo flips the bird to, I think, Ivelisse when she wants to get tagged in. And Vampiro says, yeah, that's the international signal for, no, I'm not tagging out. So I love that moment. I never caught it the first time I watched the episode.
Yeah. Let's see here. Throughout the match, Mundo gets some blind tags in there. Because, again, bad partner, at least in this situation. Bad partner when he doesn't necessarily want to tag with anyone.
Yeah.
And Prince Puma gets the win with the 630 after a 619 by Rey Mysterio. And the titles are retained. So no new champion tonight so far. And the Trios champions kind of walk off in the background as Taya jumps Ivelisse. I guess they're like, not my chicken, and not my farm, not my chicken.
I mean, this is after they lost, so like, what do they care?
Yeah. I whatever. Not a strong match in my opinion. The matches tonight have not been strong.
I agree. They kind of fed them this match, and I was thinking about how wildly good this Trios team is, and I think we both know who they lose to, and it's kind of like, wow, like they really never, they use this they successfully use this Trios to springboard Dragon Azteca pretty smoothly into where he ranks on the card, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, they didn't really have a roster for these guys to fight. For Trios, they couldn't. Like, this is another missed thing, is they have a Trios belt, but how many Trios teams did they have?
Yeah, no, it's wild to me because, like, and that's the thing, LU is like one of the best promotions to do the Trios belt, and even they had those moments where they don't have enough Trios for the thing, or they
Exactly.
have Trios for the thing,
and they could have brought in, I think AEW does as well. They could have just brought in some local talent or something just to have like a mini feud. And you can have that talent lose the feud ultimately and make this team or other teams strong enough to the point where they can challenge, I don't know. I like tag matches a lot now, like AEW, because it's kind of reinvented, not reinvented, but there hasn't been a lot of great tag team stuff that doesn't involve the elite. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
I'm sure it's out there. It's just not, prevalent. And I think Lucha Underground could have had that. But I digress.
That's fine. We are about to start the Graver Consequence match for the Lucha Underground Championship. And we get a long shot of Melissa Santos' back during the intro for some reason. It was weird. It's like when you would watch... like
a horror movie?
What's that now?
Like a horror movie?
No, I was going to say like when you would watch like Mansers and it would have like a tight shot on a woman's ass or something.
Oh. Oh my God. Is that show still around?
I doubt it. But either way, the Parade of the Dead, as I call them, bring out all the coffins and everything. And during this procession, the lighting is green. It's a nice touch, man.
I love the Grave Consequences matches. I mean, even this, I wasn't really excited for it because, like you and me both feel like we weren't too excited about Matanza, but I was actually blown away by this match. I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't tell someone to go out of their way to watch it, but just being a fan of Lucha Underground, this was way better than I remember it being.
Yeah, this was very good. We had Mill spearing Matanza through chairs on the floor, which that was awesome. Matanza even powerbombs Mil Muertes on top of one of the coffins outside the ring. Like, it's wild.
Did they start calling his spear the Titan's Trident? Because that's what Matt Striker. I didn't know if it was a one-time thing or if that's actually the name of his spear.
I didn't hear that, but that doesn't necessarily surprise me. But that does sound like a one-off thing. I don't remember being called that throughout the series. Matanza at one point loosens a buckle in the corner, but takes too long, and Mil Muertes gets the advantage. Matanza goes for an Uranage into the coffins, but Mil counters and hits a flatliner that majorly dents 3 coffins.
Dude, this was one of my favorite, even though they're not really tall men. This is one of my favorite big men matches.
Yeah.
Just because throughout the match, Mil was trying his usual, big guy bully tactics, like slugging it out. He was trying to use that turnbuckle hook.
Yeah.
But Matanza outpowered him each time. Like, not drastically, but it's just like when those power moves, like when he's fighting against Puma, he'll like that'll be his comeback as he slugs Puma, right? Against Matanza, it wasn't as much of a burial as, I think me and you remember it, but he would do his moves, but the Matanza would just do his move later. Like he couldn't come out. It was too equal, when they were doing it. It wasn't like, oh, Mil's dominating because he's doing his big man shit. It's like, oh, now Matanza's dominating with his big man shit. So
basically, Matanza is too big for Mil to just be able to bully him.
My favorite part is, and it still was cool to me. At first, it was funny when he put the chainmail glove on.
Yeah, the coal miner's glove, as they called it.
Dude, even the announcers were like, "Is that chainmail? Like, what is that gonna do?" But then he starts punching him, and it's like, "Oh, I guess that would kind of suck to get punched with someone wearing chainmail."
Yeah, that would cut. But by the way, the turntables turn, man. Think about it. Season 1. Mil Muertes tears the mask of Phoenix during the Grave Consequences match. This time, Matanza tears the mask of Mil Muertes, and we can see hair, bloody eye, everything.
Did you my favorite part though, and the crowd loved it too, is when you think the match is over because Matanza's shutting the lid on Mil.
Yeah.
And then you hear a few bumps, I remember thinking, I thought it again because I was like, oh, is this, even though I knew it was going to succeed, I was like, oh man, what if he didn't succeed with what he's trying to do? But he punches out of the coffin.
Dude.
His hand.
So I wrote it down as here's what I wrote down. Mil Muertes' hand burst through the coffin like Freddy's claw in Jason Goes to Hell.
Very much so. And then he grabs Matanza's shirt and pulls him into the coffin to kind of slam his face into it. Mm-hmm. Even though I knew it succeeded because I've seen it before, I was like, man, what if this is a Spinal Tap thing and he can't do the spot because he's in the wrong coffin or something?
Oh my God, that's funny, dude. Coffins are expensive and they've beaten up 3 of them. It's no wonder El Rey cut their budget in later seasons, dude.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they destroyed. It wasn't like they had 4 coffins and 3 of them could go out unscathed and be returned. No. I think they broke all of them. They tore one in half.
3 of them were completely unusable, and one of them it's you would have to do work to refurbish it.
What if they were to be like, hey, are you fans of Lucha Underground? Did anyone die? Want to use one of our coffins?
Oh my God, that's a great business idea. It's completely gross. So it's the worst or what's it most disgusting promotional tactic that the Observer runs. That would win that if they had done that.
Imagine people do funeral selfies. Imagine someone some wrestling fan posing with a dead loved one, be like, hey, tagging PW Torch or whatever. How bad of a look that would be.
Yeah, I don't know. Katrina and Dario have kind of been, they've had their moments in this match, and one they had in particular was Katrina slapping down Dario Cueto, and she immediately eats a chair shot to the back by Matanza.
Yeah, man, he messed her up.
He sure did. Matanza then grabs the stone, and Katrina is put in a coffin by Matanza. So at this point, he has no stone to power him up. He has no Katrina to offer moral support. Mil Muertes he's flying blind. It's just instinct now.
And I think he threw the stone in the coffin with her too.
He did. Yes, he did. Let's see here. Where did I? Okay. Emil has Matanza in prime position for a coffin, but Matanza puts his hands up to stop him from closing the lid. Matanza gets out after a throat punch.
Mm-hmm.
There's a power bomb on the coffin. Emil eats Wrath of the Gods, and it was supposed to be really cool. It's like, okay, he eats Wrath of the Gods, the lid shuts, that's it. Well, here's the problem. Jeff Cobb was not in good position. So when he hit Wrath of the Gods, Matanza, Jeff Cobb's arm was like in the way of the lid actually closing.
Yeah, and it looked like you just put him in there like a baby, like because he has to do a spin move, and he's not facing it when he starts the spin move. And I like Wrath of the Gods, but it didn't work. It was very weak, and it's unfortunate because, you know, like I said, the first time I think me and you watched it, we probably didn't like it because we were really big Mil, and we still are Mil Muertes fans. But this did way better because I think we took maybe a little. We liked Mil. We didn't like some other guy with a cheesy Jason gimmick coming in and stealing his spot. You know, especially when we didn't think there was much to it. But you know, it worked. This actually was a great match, and Mil doesn't look too weak until the finish.
Yeah. Like I said, the end was very clunky. The title was retained, and Dario goes to open the coffin, which was housing Katrina, and it's empty.
She's got magic, I suppose. So she's
a witchy woman.
Yes.
See how high she flies. Oh, let's see here. The Parade of Death come back to collect Mil Muertes, and who is helping out that procession in a very prominent spot but King Cuerno.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to see to it that Mil Muertes faces death once again. After this, Delgado assumingly meets his boss, and we don't see them, but Delgado is very scared, and he does say, I believe he refers to him as my lord.
Yes, you're right.
Yes. So, a little bit more in the lore of Lucha Underground there to end the show. It's time to grade. I'm going to be honest. This was a weak episode that was carried by an above-average coffin match. And I'm going to give it a C.
You see what else happened on here? Yeah, I think that's fair. I think a C is fair. Because there wasn't anything egregious about it, but they've had better matches. Like I said, we were able to enjoy it, I think, the second time through. It was very enjoyable, in fact, except for the weak finish, which and a finish can ruin a match. Like
here's the thing. I don't even find that as weak. I just find it as kind of clunky, and not out of design, just by accident, just by bad positioning.
Yeah, it can happen, but it does ruin the match, especially when you consider and then if you start comparing his other matches with Phoenix, it's just. You know, if we're going to recommend the Grave Consequences match or episode, or even episode, it's not going to be this one.
Yeah, exactly. Which is funny because this is called the Grave Consequences podcast because of how great the first one is and how much we love it. And here we are, you know. But folks, that is the show. Check out everything else here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We have a solo feed that you may be listening to right now. We thank you for listening. And remember that if you get put in a coffin and someone's arm is in the way, it may take a minute before you have to suffer grave consequences.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon. Cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code PHIL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code PHIL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PHIL.